Hey, Deck It Out Juniors. This is your December box. Love it. Hope you do too. This is our Grinch inspired project. Now you'll get a backer board like this that has these holes in it. Those holes are for the lights. Okay, so the lights are gonna go through. And then you'll get a piece that is probably sitting on your project that looks like this. It's covered in tape. On the other side is all the cutouts. So we're gonna go through and we're gonna pull off, it doesn't matter if you do it on top of here, but we are going to pull off all of the tape. So just take a moment right now to pull off the tape and try to keep your pieces together. Okay, so this month's project is going to be kind of puzzle-like. Okay, so there is going to be a few extra pieces. This will be your frame. I mean, you can certainly use this outer one too if you would like. So kind of set these off to the side where you can't break them because you'll want to keep them intact. I'm gonna take this off. This is all garbage and I'm just double checking that all of my pieces came out. Okay, now what you are left with is your project parts. Okay, so all of these dots, woo, lots of them, are going to be painted and glued on. These dots right here, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 of them. We need those. So we're going to take these and we're going to set them aside, and you're going to get a strip like this where you're going to get an extra 5. Okay, so you want to keep these all together. They don't need to be painted. If you paint them, that's okay. All right. So, under here, okay, so this is where all these pieces are gonna go. Now, what I'm thinking I wanna do, and maybe you wanna do it too, is you wanna think about what color each dot is going to be so that when you glue it down, or when you paint, you know which colors to paint it. Because we're gonna move them off the board to paint. I'm gonna paint my background solid white. I'm gonna paint my ornament red. I'm going to paint his arm green. I'm gonna do white here and red here. And Merry Grinchmas. I might do Grinchmas in black. I'm gonna bring out the black. And then the dots are all gonna be reds and greens. Okay, so I want you to kind of plan out, and I kept my tape. Hopefully you did too. You maybe noticed that I was keeping my tape, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my dots that I want red and put them in a pile, and then my dots that I want green, put them in a pile. So I think I'm gonna do this black. So I'll do this one red. Now I'm gonna just go through and pull red, and then I'll pull, maybe I'll put green on a different piece of tape just to keep them totally separate. And then we'll come back and talk about painting. All right, now I have all my pieces sorted. So I'm going to, I moved that, but actually I'm going to paint this white first. So you'll just grab your sponge. We did include a larger sponge for you as well. So we're gonna grab the larger sponge, get some paint on it, and you can paint, oh, there's a little bit of color on this one. You can paint your background whatever color you want, and try not to do what I just did right there, is get a ton of paint in the circle, because that's where your light is gonna come through. So we don't wanna drip a lot of paint in there. But paint your entire background white. Okay, now when you paint, you want to be able to see some of the lines still, just so that when we do paint our Merry Grinchmas, we can see where to glue it. Okay, so I'm good with this one for right now. I'm going to grab my Grinch arm, and I'm going to do red for his coat. So when you can use your white sponges, and you can just paint. I like to pull the paint off the edge because the edges are burnt, and so they have a clean edge already. And I'm just gonna kind of go like this for his arm, because the puffy part right here on his jacket, I want to make that color white. And you'll see that I just kind of went over with the red a little bit. So I have baby wipes on hand always when I'm painting in the studio. So if that happens to you, grab a baby wipe or grab a damp paper towel and just kind of brush it off. And then because it's red and then we're gonna do white, I would let it sit for a few minutes just so that it doesn't turn out pink. Unless you want pink, that'd be totally cool as well. So we're just gonna clean up, make it the ornament here. Okay. And for the top of the ornament, I don't know, I'm gonna do that black, I guess. This part right here. It could be white, it could be any color, really. And then the string. Okay. And then paint his hands. So do the same sort of idea. Some parts you might want to dab, some parts you don't need to dab. You can just kind of glide the paint over the top. Okay, is anyone else singing You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch? Anyone else? Okay, well, if not, maybe it's now in your head. But here we go. Now we're gonna do the polka dots. This was my red, and this is my green. So I'm just gonna take my sponge. I'm gonna, not a ton of paint, but some good amount of paint, and I'm gonna dab it. Now, you probably noticed that I did do a couple of coats of green and a couple of coats of white, or sorry, red. You will probably wanna do the same, but because you're doing nice thin coats, you'll be able to paint, like continuously paint. So I'll be able to do my green, go to my red, come back to my green, and then go back to my red. Okay, so you saw me paint both of my frames because I don't know, maybe I want to, maybe I don't. So right now, I'm gonna lay all of my pieces back on where they belong because you want to be able to see everything. Okay, you want to make sure it all fits where you want it to fit, and you want to make sure you have all the pieces and that the colors work well. So like right here, that's kind of a bummer that I have the two reds right here in the corner, but I'm thinking it will be okay. So right now, place all your dots back on, place all your pieces back on. Let's make sure we have them in the correct spot. We're not gluing yet though. Okay, once you are satisfied or fairly satisfied with all of these little cutouts, take your hand off because I don't want you to accidentally glue that down, okay? I am gonna keep my frame. I think it's really fun. So I'm gonna start with that since that is what kind of holds everything together. I'm gonna take my glue and I'm going to glue around the edge. Kind of smear this glue around and get my frame placed. Because I feel like once I fit my frame on and that sets, I will be able to get the rest of the project put into place. Okay, so that's there. Now just take your glue, be careful, it is super glue. It will glue your fingers together, okay? Or whatever you have glue on it. And then if you have glue on your finger and then touch something, you will get glued to that something, okay? So, put these kind of together and Glue it all down, glue your dots down, and then we'll come back together and we'll talk about the lights and how that is all gonna work out. Okay, so I believe I've glued everything down. Now you're going to take these little dots and you're going to glue them to the dots that are underneath his hand and his arm, and the ornament. Okay, so that's why you are gonna get a strip of extras. Okay, and these dots are to lift up the Grinch's arm and ornament so that you can see the light that's going to be shown behind. Okay, so we're going to take, now I'm going to cheat that one. Let me see if that's going to work. I'm also just going to lay it down to make sure everything is hidden once in the spot that I have. So it's all hidden. Okay, so make sure it is, and if it's not, adjust where your dot is so that it's not seen. Okay, so now I'm gonna do what I just did before, but this time I'm gonna glue these down, okay, and let them set up so that we can put our lights in from the back side, and then we will have a super cool sign. Now what I'm gonna do after I check all, like that is all good to go, I'm gonna put a little dab of hot glue on my lights so that they stay in place, okay? But as you can see, well, maybe you can't see on the screen, but there's a glow of lights behind. And you know what we're gonna do? I have extra, so I'll make sure you guys get extra. We're gonna add one more lift of dots. Okay, so let's do that really quick. And actually, I'm not gonna have enough extra, but I will make sure in your kit you will have extra. Add one more layer of these dots, and it will just bring the hand up that much more. Okay, so my dots are still not totally dry, so that's okay too. So I'm just gonna put them in strategic spots so that my project stays up. And you guys, when the lights are off, because I do have a bright light above me, you will be able to see this glow, and it's gonna be so cool. Okay, I will also go get my hot glue gun so I can just show you the back part of it. Once these dots dry, I will glue my hand on. I just wanna make sure those are dry before I do that. Okay, so I have my hot glue gun. I'm just gonna show you how I get this accomplished. So I'm going to just put it like a dot of glue on the side, and then I just kind of put it in, and you don't want it to be all the way through, but you want it to be somewhat through. Okay, I'll show you what I mean. So it can't go higher than these little pieces right here. So this is a good height right there. Okay. And so, yeah, I do just hot glue my lights in. Yep. So I'm just gonna go through, and now that these ones are already through, I'm just gonna dot them with some glue on the edge. Not all your lights are going to be used, and that's okay. Just kind of going around to make sure I get them all in. And then my other side is dry, so I'm going to put my hand on. Now, one other thing I wanted to show you that I do, make sure it's on the back bottom side. This is the back corner. I'm gonna actually just put some hot glue on here. You don't have to do this part, but I am, just so that I keep everything together. Ooh, this hot glue is dripping today. I'm just gonna do that, glue my box to the back. But here's the thing, make sure it says open, because this is where you're gonna put your batteries in, okay? Look at how cute that is. This red one, I gotta wiggle him up a little bit more. The same with the green. Okay, keep those up. Yes, it's so cute, girls. Okay, so your next step, once you have all your lights in place, you're gonna put glue on the top of these pieces, and then we'll put the hand on. There you have it, girls. You might not be able to see the glow, but I can certainly see the glow. So make sure you have your lights pushed up high enough, and that is our Deck It Out December box for our juniors. Thanks for DIYing with us, and I can't wait to hear how much you love your project.